Have you ever wondered what you need to do to sound more formal in English, or to sound more sophisticated, or even to be more fluent? Well, there is a misconception of thinking that you need to speak with a different accent, or maybe you need like a hard, difficult word, a long word, an old word, and that's not really true. In English, if you want to sound more sophisticated, you don't need these extra words. You don't need these words that are university levels. You don't need those hard words to pronounce. You actually need simple structures. That's how you get that edge. If you want to go to a job interview, for example, what makes a difference from someone who actually speaks good English and someone who's just starting out is the way you say things. So you've got to be careful with, I always say this, but you've got to be careful with your tenses. You need to know if you're talking in the present tense, in the past tense, in the past progressive or future, whatever tense you need to talk about at that given moment. So the thing that will make you sound more native-like, and the thing that will actually give you the edge, is knowing how to structure your words. You can use prepositions, you can use word choice, and you can use word order to transform your English from simple and basic to extraordinary. I'll give you a small example. If you say something like, "I haven't been there yet." Okay, that's fine. That's actually a very good structure. I have not been there yet. That is the present perfect. You're using it in the negative form. You're using yet as a form of saying that you haven't done it before. So, or you're still going to do it. So that's actually a good structure. But you could say something like, "I have yet to go there." Now that shows that you have dominance in the language. I have yet to do this. That is actually a very nice and sophisticated structure that you can use to impress your colleagues or whoever you're talking to. But at the end of the day, what will make you sound more native-like is your fluency. You have to be comfortable with what you're saying, you have to own what you're saying, you have to have confidence, and it doesn't hurt to throw in a few expressions. So don't translate your expressions from your language. If you get an expression from your native language, it might not translate well. It's like a joke. When you joke with wordplay, if you translate it from one language to the other, it doesn't translate well, it's not funny. So expressions also get lost in translation. If you get an expression from your native language and translate it to English, it might not work out. So the best thing to do is try to find out what the equivalent is in that language. So for example, in Spanish, we have the expression papito para loro. In Portuguese, it's mamão com açúcar. And in English, it's a piece of cake, or easy peasy. So you can go ahead and get those expressions and find the equivalent. Don't ever translate them because it will not make sense. So throw in a few expressions, use prepositions, find the correct word order, and you will sound more native-like. You will impress your friends, and that's actually how you will get your English to be more efficient and impressive. Of course, if you want to work on your accent, that is fine, but it's not the accent that will impress people. As long as you have clear communication, it will still impress them. I mean, take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. His English, his accent is he has a very heavy accent. It's very noticeable. But if you pay attention to his structures, the way he speaks, his charisma, and just his public speaking skills, you'll see that he has very good English. It's enough to impress anyone. And of course, nobody will ever say anything bad about him because he's so big and strong. But nobody has to, because he still has that quality English, because he studies a lot and he's been living there for a long while, and his accent is just a charm that he has. So if you have an accent and if you can't get rid of the accent, you shouldn't really need to, as long as your pronunciation is clear. So accents and pronunciations are very different. So as long as your English is well structured, as long as you're speaking clearly, and if you're choosing the right tenses and the right word order, which is very important, because in some languages the word order is switched, then if you're doing that, then you're in the right place. You're taking the right path, and that will actually make you sound more efficient in the language. And that's basically it. That's all I wanted to say for today. I hope this actually helped you. Of course, you need to be an intermediate student to understand everything I'm saying, but I hope you've got value from this video. And if you did, if I helped you in any way, shape, or form, give me a thumbs up. And another thing I want to say before I leave is that speaking fast doesn't really show that you're fluent. What actually shows you're fluent is, your coherence, the way you speak, the things you say. If you are coherent in your storytelling, if you are coherent, then you don't really need to speak fast. But connecting words is actually a good way of sounding more native. So for example, connected speech in English normally involves when you connect one word to the other. So for example, instead of saying I have to go, you say I've got to go, or you say I gotta go, and that will actually make you sound more native-like. And that doesn't really mean you're speaking fast. It just means you're connecting the words appropriately. And basically that's it. I mean, I'm not a very fast speaker, but I do know how to connect my speeches, and I do know how to speak naturally. And basically that's what makes my English sound so natural, I guess. And of course, it doesn't hurt adapting an accent. I see some people trying to speak like a specific person, like they hear that person and they try to emulate that. That's not a problem, as long as you stick to it, but don't try to sound American and British at the same time, or that will sound very strange. But the best way for you to improve your accent is trying to sound like them. So listen a lot of listening and a lot of repetition until you sound like that. But as I said, focus on one accent only, and that's it. It's a long video for today, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I helped you in some way. And I thought it was a topic that I needed to talk to you about. And don't worry too much about sounding sophisticated. You don't need to impress anybody. Remember, if you're learning English, it means you already know another language. So you're bilingual. That's enough to make you confident. So if anyone tries to correct you, tell them, hey, I'm bilingual. I'm not worried. Okay? Don't let anyone put you down because of your language, okay? Your language skills. At least you're trying, at least you're learning, at least you know more than the other people who are trying to correct you. And that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye. Keep it real.